Welcome in to Locked On Phillies. The Phils lose their third straight game in Toronto, another tough one coming up. And are they limping into the All-Star break? Well, we'll discuss on today's Locked On Phillies.
You are Locked On Phillies, your daily Philadelphia Phillies podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, this is Locked On Phillies. I'm your host, Connor Thomas. I've been talking Phils baseball for years over on 97.5 The Fanatic on the radio, and I'm happy to be here with you as your host of Locked On Phillies. I want to thank you for making Locked On Phillies your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts, and today's episode is brought to you by Blue Nile. Make your moments sparkle with jewelry from BlueNile.com, and Locked On Sports listeners get $50 off purchases of $500 or more. This podcast exclusive includes engagement, so use code Locked On at checkout. I'll tell you more about them later, but let's jump into today's episode. Kind of a weird game again for the Philadelphia Phillies last night, and they've been on a string of weird games. We'll quick run through exactly what happened in the game in case you didn't catch it up there in Canada, and then I'll give you my thoughts on why what's happening is happening for the Phillies. Now, Andrew Bellotti started. It was another bullpen game for the Phillies, another in a long stretch of bullpen games seemingly every other day because of some injuries. Now with some players unavailable to go to Canada, of course, we're talking about Kyle Gibson, Aaron Nola, Alec Bohm, injured anyway, and JT Realmuto. So two position players and two starters unable to travel to the Great White North due to COVID vaccine restrictions, and that led to the bullpen game that we saw last night. Jose Berrios went for the Blue Jays, and man, was he incredible. We'll give him his props as well because he dominated the Phillies hitters for the most part in this one. The Blue Jays started off with a 2 RBI double in the bottom of the first off of Andrew Bellotti, Bo Bichette, George Springer scoring on that one. But Hernandez, who hit the double, was thrown out trying to stretch it to third. Nice relay by Bryson Stott on that one. But 2-0 early, and it felt like it was going to be a long night. Then Odubel Herrera hits a chopper infield single to third in the top of the second. It was enough to score Bryson Stott, who had made it over to third. Matt Vierling moved up to second on that one, and though that was the only run the Phillies got in that frame, cut it to one. You're like, okay, well, the Phillies are doing a little something. Then Bryson Stott had another great at bat in the top of the fourth off of Berrios. He hit a home run to right field, no stride, and still hit it 403 feet, an absolute missile. He seems to have figured it out. I believe I saw he only struck out like twice in his last 17 games or so. He's really started to figure it out at the plate, at least contact-wise. I believe the power will come a little bit as he gets deeper into his career, maybe not this year, but he's starting to adjust to Major League pitching, and that's what happens when you get extended time, partially due to the Gene Segura injury at second base, partially due to Stott's ability to play at the position and play defensively at shortstop too when he needs to. Then in the bottom of the fourth, the Blue Jays would take the lead back. Chapman had doubled to deep right center rather. Gurriel Jr. scores, and it's 3-2 Toronto. But then Nick Castellanos with a nice RBI single in the fifth, and we're tied up at 3. And just like that, okay, looked like the Phillies might have a chance to continue to fight in this one. Unfortunately, Juris Familia comes up and had a rough bottom of the sixth. He allowed Gurriel, who we previously talked about, scoring in the fourth inning off of Mark Appel. I believe it might be his first earned run given up in the major leagues. Well, Gurriel hit a ground rule double to deep left center that Kyle Schwarber wasn't able to get to. Scored Kirk, Hernandez the third. Now, Corey Knebel would come in and work out of that jam pretty nicely, but still 4-3 Toronto. And that's how this scoring would end. The Blue Jays bullpen just too strong. Berrios just too strong. Now, not really a starting pitcher to look at for the Phillies, but listen to this line from Jose Berrios, former Twins. Was he the ace there? Arguable that he was at points. 6 innings pitched, 3 earned runs, but 13 strikeouts. And yeah, the Phillies just fanned a lot, but they're rolling out sort of a skeleton crew when it comes to the bottom part of this lineup, looking at Garrett Stubbs, Odubel Herrera, Matt Vierling, Bryson Stott, Derek Hall. Like, these are not names that you expected the Phillies to have in big-time game lineups when you came into this year. And that's who they put out against the lineup that was George Springer, Bo Bichette, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Like, it's just that team that the Blue Jays had was more complete, partially because of the Phillies' injuries, partially because of the COVID vaccination restrictions for some of the players, and yet the Phillies battled anyway. This brings me to the point that I was going to talk about that I brought up as far as why I don't feel like the Phillies are necessarily limping into the All-Star break, even though their record would show that way. And John Kincaid, who hosts the John Kincaid Show, the morning show that I'm a part of over on 97.5 The Fanatic, brought it up and was like, well, is this a must-win tonight with Zack Wheeler on the mound trying to avoid 4 losses in a row? And I laughed at him. I was like, dude, must-win? Are you kidding me? And I understand the Phillies are now a game out of the final wild card spot, trailing the St. Louis Cardinals. But, I mean, last time I checked, it's July 13th, is it not? Let me pull my phone up. Yeah, July 13th there, if I hold that up. I know it's reversed on the camera, but that is indeed the date. There's plenty of time. And look at the lineup that the Phillies have been trotting up. No Bryce Harper, no Gene Segura, now no Alec Bohm with a finger injury, no Ranger Suarez, no Zach Eflin. This is just, it's a skeleton crew, and they're trying to figure out a way to make it work. But this team is going to be significantly improved by the time the stretch run comes, with hopefully everybody outside of Bryce Harper coming back. And Bryce Harper hopefully will be back sometime late August is where I've got my fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. That's ironic considering what happened to Alec Bohm and what's happened to Bryce Harper and Gene Segura being finger injuries for all of them. But hopefully he'll be back. And this team will be different. And I also expect Dave Dombrowski, considering where the Phillies are in the standings and what's going on with the NL wildcard race, I expect him to be very aggressive in the trade deadline pursuit of a center fielder, of another relief pitcher, of potentially another starter, of potentially another bat off the bench. All of these things are going to be on the table. Maybe a second baseman, depending on how long Gene Segura will be out for. Maybe a third baseman, depending on what's going on with Alec Bohm. Who knows what he does, but I expect Dave Dombrowski to be aggressive. So, yeah, the reason I'm not worried about this team, this isn't the Philadelphia Phillies. Their uniform says it is. The lineup says it is. The scoreboard says it is. But this is not the team that's going to make the playoff run. And we already saw when this team was relatively healthy, and even without Bryce Harper, what type of a stretch they can go on. And that was against tougher competition. The big 9-10 game winning streak, it was 9 games, I believe. Yeah, 9-game winning streak they got to, and the hot stretch in June that they were on. Yeah, that was against tougher competition than what they'll see down the stretch. So am I worried? No. Would I like them to win tonight? Yes. And it's the way I described it on the radio today, and I'll describe it the same way here, it's a should-win game when Zack Wheeler takes them out. It's not a must-win game. If they lose tonight, I'm not losing my mind. It's unfortunate what they're dealing with right now, but it doesn't really condemn the ability of the team, if that makes sense. Like, them losing these games doesn't make me think, oh, well, the Phillies aren't good anymore. It makes me think, oh, the Phillies have a lot of players hurt right now, and when they get everyone back, they'll still kind of be hanging in contention. They'll have plenty of time to make up the ground, and they just need to play well, which they're going to have to do anyway to make it with teams like the Cardinals and the Padres and the Brewers and the Giants and the Braves. Those are the teams that they're looking to chase down or stay ahead of in some cases. Yeah, so it's not an easy road, but it wasn't going to be anyway, and I still firmly believe in this team. Just going to take a second for them to get guys back, and back end of the All-Star break, they should have Bohm back, they should have Suarez back, they should have Eflin back, so Segura not terribly long after that. Right around the corner, they'll be back to close to full strength, and it'll be a much more competitive team. So you just got to take these games and these results with a grain of salt. Did I say Stalt? Maybe I'm so used to saying Stott. Nice home run by Bryson Stott last night, though. Man, what a pretty swing on that one. No, you have to take these games and these results with a grain of salt until this team is healthy again. And you just got to fight the urge to look too much into a 4-game stretch over 162 games. So that's where I feel about it. That's where I stand. Maybe you're a little bit more worried than me, and maybe I'm pretending like the sky isn't falling, and it actually might be. That's just how I feel, and we'll see how it plays out. But I'm not really too concerned about anything prior to the All-Star break at this point. Coming up, though, we'll preview tonight's game between the Phillies and the Blue Jays, the ender for the second to last, the penultimate series of the first half of the Phillies schedule. They'll finish this night's game. They'll go down to Miami for 3, and then they'll have the break for the Midsummer Classic. But let's preview the matchup with Zack Wheeler and the Toronto Blue Jays facing off coming up next on the middle segment of today's Locked On Phillies. But first, I promised I'd tell you more, and I'm a man of my word. And if you're a man of your word, maybe you've said something to that special woman in your life that says, hey, we got an engagement coming. I'm going to ask you soon. Or I know you got a birthday coming up, a special event, an anniversary, all of that. Well, if you've said that, you've got a need for some fine jewelry, and I'll tell you where to find it. Maybe you're ready to pop the question. Maybe you're celebrating a milestone moment. Either way, you can find jewelry unique as her by going to BlueNile.com. Let me tell you about Blue Nile. They've got simple online tools that let you choose a diamond shape, size, clarity, setting style, all the stuff you need to build a unique and perfect engagement ring for her. Plus, they've got a bunch of people that can help you out. They got support online, experts that are on hand 24/7, both over the phone, over online chat. They can help you find a memorable gift at every budget or help you build the perfect engagement ring. So I want you to make your moment sparkle with jewelry from BlueNile.com. And Locked On Sports listeners get $50 off purchases of $500 or more. Of course, that covers fine everyday jewelry like bracelets, necklaces, rings, earrings, but it also includes engagement. So use code Locked On. That's code Locked On. Plus, every order is insured, ships free, and arrives in discreet packaging that won't give away what's inside. So shop stress-free and find your forever piece. Go to BlueNile.com today. Man, tell me Blue Nile doesn't get their money's worth when I do those ad reads. Listen, if you're doing it, go check them out. But anyway, let's get into a preview of tonight's game between the Philadelphia Phillies and the Toronto Blue Jays. Wheels, Zack Wheeler, the all-star snub, which we decided on off the poll earlier this week. He'll take the mound for the Philadelphia Phillies in his final start of what's been an outstanding first half for him. Another great start to another great season for Zack Wheeler. Running through the numbers again, he's got an 8-4 record. A 2.46 ERA, a 1.05 whip in 95 innings pitched, 79 hits given up, 21 walks on the season, but 104 strikeouts. Just had the K-ball working. He's only given up 5 home runs. Great. You know he's your ace. You know he's the guy. You've got a great chance to win anytime he takes the mound. And he's had a couple of tough starts where he hasn't looked totally like himself. I think he's due for one of those dominant outings. And he'll face off against Ross Stripling, who will take the ball for the Toronto Blue Jays. Stripling hasn't been bad this year. A 4-3 record with a 3.34 ERA, 1.16 with the whip. Now, not as many starts as Zack Wheeler, 67 1/3 innings pitched, and he's given up 64 hits in those, so nearly a hit an inning. It's why the whip is higher than 1 for him. 14 walks, so a little bit more of a controlled pitcher, but only 55 Ks, well less than a K an inning. So he's not a guy that's going to strike you out all that much either. He's a guy that's going to try and induce contact, work his outs that way, pitch with control, nibble around a little bit, and hope that he can get batters that way. But a right-handed pitcher, which means Kyle Schwarber is dangerous. And even though Stripling's only given up 5 home runs so far on the year, Kyle Schwarber's got 28 to his name. Would be surprised if I don't see a couple hard hit balls off the bat of Kyle Schwarber. So let's look at the Phillies lineup real quick and see how they've done against Ross Stripling. And Schwarber, just to prove my point, is 3 for 8 with a home run off him in his career, batting .375. Rhys Hoskins, 1 for 5. Nick Castellanos, 0 for 1 in his career against him. Derek Hall, never seen him. Bryson Stott, never seen him. Matt Vierling, never seen him. Garrett Stubbs, never seen him. Of course, those are some of the younger players in the lineup. But Didi Gregorius is a cool 2 for 3. Jairo Munoz is 2 for 5 against him. So the Phillies, I'm going to do some quick math. 4, 5, 3, 8 for, let's do 10, 14, 22. So that's 8 for 22 the Philadelphia Phillies are so far, with a whopping average that I cannot do in my head. We're going to do some quick math on the calculator. Listen, I don't make it up when I say I'm terrible at math. They're batting .363 as a lineup against Ross Stripling. So you hear that, and they've seen this guy well. He's not a dominant pitcher, but he gets the job done, and that 3.34 ERA says he's better than most. Gets results, just not going to be flashy results. So an interesting game. Maybe one you'll look at the over for. but one that I feel pretty good about the Philadelphia Phillies in. Still a super talented lineup for the Blue Jays. Still a tall task for Zack Wheeler. And with the bullpen game yesterday, not a lot of fresh arms out there coming out of the pen to help out if Wheeler doesn't go a long way. So you need him to eat up some innings, but hopefully he does that just by being a really, really good pitcher like he just about always is. So if the Phillies can do this, they can split this series. What does that mean if they split this series? It means that I think they've won or split 9 of their last 11 series if they split this one. So they've only lost 2 of 11 series if they win tonight and split in Toronto, with a chance to make that only losing 2 of 12 if they take care of business down in Miami against the Marlins. That's still a good stretch. The sky is not falling. And even if they lose tonight, which I think they shouldn't, ESPN has them favored. Let's just look at the numbers again. ESPN Analytics, which I always tell you about, has them as a fixed 56.2% favorite to win. So, yeah, if they take care of business, we're feeling much better about the Phillies. You can't live and die on single games, especially when the lineup is as broken down by this point in the season as the Phillies are, and a great time for the All-Star break. So just hold your horses on all the worrying. Let's see if they win tonight. And even if they don't, let's, again, take everything with a grain of salt. But a very winnable game tonight. Not a must win, but a should win for the Philadelphia Phillies, just like I told you in segment number 1. So we'll see how that goes. And then tomorrow's episode, we'll preview the final series of the first half. We got to look at the Miami Marlins, and we'll see what's going on down there, down in South Beach, down in Florida, for the last game of the series. But one more game to take care of tonight. Coming up next, well, it's Wednesday, and we're going to do a little bit of stepping off. It's kind of inside the lines of the game. It's kind of not. And I've already somewhat discussed this. I brought it up in yesterday's episode. And what I didn't want to happen, well, unfortunately, it's happening. But I got a lot of pushback when I brought this up on the radio. So I want to pose it to you out there listening and give you my thoughts and see what you think on this. It's something to deal with All-Star Weekend. If you heard yesterday's episode, you already know what it is, but an announcement surrounding the Phillies. I'll break it all down, what happened, and how I feel about it next on the final segment of today's Locked On Phillies. I was talking about some bets you might want to place on the Phillies tonight, and the best place to do that, well, it's BetOnline. BetOnline.net's your number one source for all of your betting needs and sports info. You can find all the latest sports developments, league reviews, and news, especially about this year's Major League Baseball season. It's all that's going on right now sports-wise as far as the major 4 North American sports. So go ahead and check it out. Plus, hey, the British Open. The British Open. No, it's just called the Open. The golf tournament over there across the sea in Europe is going on. They're playing at the old course of St. Andrews. You can look at some of the odds for that coming up. BetOnline is your continued source for all of your sporting wagering information, including live betting, esports, and scores. And BetOnline.net remains the best spot for all of your sports scores, podcasts, and news this season. BetOnline.net is the fastest and easiest way to check in on all your favorite sports and events, including MMA, boxing, and golf. So head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends in action. Bet online. It's where the game starts. All right, so there was a little bit of an announcement that came yesterday after I recorded the episode. It was prior to me posting it. So if you're like, why didn't you mention it yesterday? Well, I record. It takes a little bit of time to edit the video up and post everything. So I'm getting to it today. I hope you don't mind. This is stepping off. So it's where you step off the mound, take a break from the actual, what did the Phillies do last night? What are they going to do tonight? And the inside the line stuff, more fun baseball adjacent things. But this one might affect what's going on between the lines. And this is why I'm a little bit worried about it. It's official. Kyle Schwarber will be a participant in the 2022 Home Run Derby out in Los Angeles. Here are the confirmed competitors in the Home Run Derby, in addition to our very own Kyle Schwarber. Pete Alonso, who's looking for his 3rd straight Home Run Derby championship, is back. Juan Soto of the Washington Nationals will compete. So there's 2 NL East guys already. Ronald Acuna Jr., 3 NL East guys. Albert Pujols, a legend, who we just saw in St. Louis. He went yard off the Philadelphia Phillies. He will be in it, but an older player. And Seattle's rookie star Julio Rodriguez will be in the Home Run Derby along with Kyle Schwarber. So the NL East has 4 of their 5 teams represented so far in the Home Run Derby. There are 2 slots left. There's 5 days to go until it's live. This is all according to a tweet by Jeff Passan. Monday from Dodger Stadium at 8 p.m. is when it'll take place. Here's what I'll say. Kyle Schwarber, if you want to do it, okay. Like, good luck. I will root for you. I hope he wins. I hope he takes down Pete Alonso. I hate the Mets. I hate the Braves. I hate the Nationals. I hope he whoops all of these guys. I like Albert Pujols, actually. He was one of my favorite players growing up, but he's ancient. I don't think you have to worry about him in this competition. But Kyle Schwarber has done it once before. He lost to Bryce Harper, actually, at the one down in Washington. Now, teammates, of course, the two are. But here's my issue. And my argument is not, I think the argument about swing path is silly because these guys literally in the game now, the job is launch angle and trying to hit home runs. That is what the game has become. So the home run derby trying to hit home runs, it doesn't mess up the swing like people may have claimed in the early to mid 2000s. Now in the 2020s, the early 2020s, man, that makes me feel old to say. Well, launch angle is a part of the game, and I'm not worried about the swing path. Rather, I'm worried about the fatigue of swinging the bat 300, 400 times in a single night. You think about it, outside of BP, in which, I don't know, maybe you take 50 swings in batting practice before games. Then you're probably going to swing, 25 times, 30 times in a night? Probably not even that much, unless you're counting on-deck swings and warm-up stuff, which are not normally full strength. It's a totally different toll that your body's not used to, and baseball is a game of consistency. Kyle Schwarber going out there and swinging like that, fatigue could be an issue. And I don't want him to come back from the All-Star break more tired than how he went into it. This team has been relying on him a lot. He hasn't been able to DH very often because he needs to play the outfield with Bryce Harper unable to play the field for months now. So I'd rather this be a vacation for him than a swing 300 times work trip. That's what I'm worried about. I'm going to support him. And end of the day, I don't think that's big of a deal. Just if I had my choice, I'd probably say, man, don't worry about it. You've done it already. Don't need to go do it again. You don't need to prove anything to anybody. We know you're a power hitter. But hey, his choice, his decision. I'll root for him. Just a little bit worried about what that could mean long-term for him with the fatigue of doing the home run derby. And we've heard players mention it in the past that they felt tired after that amount of exertion. Because really, you get to the later rounds of that, it is an exertion, like a heavy exertion exercise. But hey, it's Kyle Schwarber's choice, and we wish him all the best. And hopefully he brings home some hardware that us in Philadelphia can be proud of. He's going to be the first one since Bobby Abreu to win the home run derby for the Phillies, I believe. I don't think Ryan Howard won it. I think he just participated in it. But yeah, it would be nice to see him win it, and hopefully it doesn't affect him any further than that. Just a slight concern that I had, and some people, when I brought it up at the radio station, were like, man, that's crazy. Stop over worrying about the home run derby. I was like, oh, we'll see. I hope you're right, but I'll be rooting for him. We'll be watching him. It'll be a good showing for the Philadelphia Phillies out in Los Angeles, a chance for our great new power hitter to be on a national stage. So go Kyle Schwarber. We'll talk more about that as we get into the All-Star break episodes with less to get into, but it'll be fun. Be a fun little experience to watch that and have some rooting interest. That's all I've got for today's Locked On Phillies. I want to tell you, thank you again for making Locked On Phillies your first listen every day, but I want you to make your second listen Locked On MLB Prospects. The draft's coming up. Lindsey Crosby is breaking down everything when it comes to high school, college, potential trades, anything that deals with prospects, minor league guys, amateur players, all of that good stuff. Lindsey Crosby knows it inside and out. So check his workout on Locked On MLB Prospects. It's available wherever you get your podcasts. Make that your second listen. Please make sure you're rating, reviewing, subscribing, liking, all of that good stuff that comes along with following the Locked On Phillies podcast. It helps me out tremendously. I'm getting new subscribers every day, so thank you to those of you doing that. And if you haven't, what are you waiting for? You get immediate notifications when episodes come out. All of this good, interesting new stuff that I'm putting out will get to you sooner, and it'll help me continue to make good content. So I appreciate all of that. Thank you for listening to today's Locked On Phillies, and I will talk to you all tomorrow.